So we also know from lore that there's other draconian currents, not reptilian, but almost like fairy-like in nature, and then there's other quote-unquote fairy dragons that are kind of better known, like the unicorn Pegasus creatures, and there's this like division of dragons. According to antiquarian quest notebooks of Magnalucius, and these are fanciful in nature, but very, very intriguing. Transcribed by Michael Green. Comes in a couple of versions. This one is a purple hardcover version of the quest notebooks, and then it was these are all from Running Press. And there was another larger paperback, more visual version, the Book of the Dragon Tooth. But it's said that the unicorn was created before the dragon, and therefore a spirit much closer to the source. And aside from, these fairy dragons, the rest of them mainly represent a current that is all too familiar to humans. Knowledge, power, with little thought of wisdom. If the dragon current is tempered with wisdom, then it can actually be a very active, immediate form of elemental magic, as is seen in revival practices of elementalism. So since the time of the dragon and the unicorn in the primeval gardens, humans have mainly chosen the path of the dragon mind in their evolutionary development through the various ages. The nature of dragons and humans is very similar. This does not take the more fairy dragon versions into consideration. Those who are seeking the secret knowledge of the source, as is the Druid. On the one hand, we have the malignant forces that seek worldly domination, and then on the other, we have those seeking this upward spiral to the source. So, what way in which do the dragons play in Druidry, Druidology, modern practices? Well, they can be guides, familiars, messengers, astral mentors. They can be called forth in ceremonial work, encountered in the dimensions, at the higher level. They are also powerful co-magicians, co-magi, co-wizards, who are called in by their currents for the duration of magical work. As we have mentioned in the definition of dracomancy in a prior segment, dragons can be used as oracles in relation to spiritual work. There's especially adepts, guardians, and wards. Druids also speak of ancestral dragons, and these possess many archaic names in diverse cultures: the Nephilim, the Asir, the Pleiadians, Syrians, Anunnaki. These ancestrals would probably be those who had the most chance of using galactic technologies, particularly those beings which claim to be from the Pleiades and Sirius. There's condors, dragon-like species of which remains have been found, and there's actually been sightings still of these beings. In relation to magical work, then, there's an urge to use mystical words of other languages as part of rituals. There's Drag, Draconis, and Vovum, and Grail, and Ceres, and Vapnir, and Neayon, all of which appear in Celtic and Druidic lore, some form or another. And the dragons themselves can actually be separated into their elemental currents. The current that they identify with usually denotes not only their color, but the attributes that of how they're used in mystical work and elemental correspondences, ritual spellcraft, and whatnot. If you've followed in the Be a Wizard series, and this is nothing new. This is going to be kind of an upgrade. That's why it's a continuation of. So what we propose then in our next lesson is this idea of what correspondences to use in draconian alchemy and conjurations and ritual spellcraft and whatnot.